at a very high level, what is the landscape of platforms? What are the options out there for the company wanting to use blockchain?
Well, okay. So actually, Michael brought a point up earlier privately that a lot of people were talking about, transaction speeds, etc. You have to remember is that they're talking about the public chains of Bitcoin and Ethereum. There are many different blockchain systems. There's actually, many consensus algorithms which really dictate the speed at which things happen with. Just looking at Bitcoin and Ethereum, you're missing probably 95% of the story. So, you have to dig deeper than that. There's a lot of really good things, like Quorum's a really good one out there. Tezos has a huge promise. Consensus algorithms, proof of elapsed time is a great one. That's one of my favorites. So it's a much, honestly, we are playing in the very, very small kiddie pool. We're not even close to the deep end. So, do your homework. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I want to back that up again.
Yes.
One thing is you can, especially for private chains, you can actually have certain performance requirements that you have to perform on a chain. The problem that we kind of get blinded by things, the fact that blockchain 1.0, which is Bitcoin, right, was set up as a proof of concept over at Modem Speeds in 2008 by a bunch of crypto geeks. It was never supposed to go where it did. But that's like the sort of internet too, right? It's supposed to there's a succeed company. But so sometimes people take the current state and basically having the forward state. The current state, as you just heard, isn't even where we think it is. So we always have to question, received knowledge on this side of thing. Somebody somewhere has probably either already proven that false or will prove it false in the next 6 to 7 months. Yeah. So I think it's really critical not to allow current perceptions to limit your thinking on where this can go. Else you're going to get lapped or very nasty surprise otherwise.
So I think the technology is still evolving, right? And you should look at the platforms and look at if you're developing. Look at the platform, see if it fits your use case. Look at the requirements. Which ones are going to need an ecosystem that will need money to do the proof of work if you end up going in the proof of work route. There are going to be a lot of different algorithms for the consensus algorithms. So I think, right now it's in its infancy stages. But if you're looking at a platform, I would just say, for advertising, I start to think about campaign IDs, ad IDs, marketplace IDs, CPM, if that doesn't, hopefully someday that'll go away, but CPM, there's a lot of metadata that needs to be stored, and what's private and what's public. Does your platform support it? If you're a developer or you're working on a blockchain solution, if you're doing it in advertising, I can only speak for advertising, but if you're doing it in advertising, take all the expertise you have in the advertising world and try to make sure that all those variables are available and the technology supports it so that you actually have an ecosystem that will work inside of the advertising.
I think Richard,
I was just saying, so the question is, what do you need to know? And the answer is a lot. And it is early days. So education is the most important thing. You need to understand game theory, crypto economics. You can't just take your existing business model and migrate to blockchain. It doesn't work that way. So you need to understand what this blockchain technology is. We're actually going to host a blockchain and media event, an all-day conference late February. So we're going to continue to educate the industry.
Richard, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, so I'll definitely continue on from Ken there on the education front. So that was, again, the second or third thing Mike and I discussed. And I think there's a level of education that we need to do as an industry about the use cases on the business side, which today, a lot of the speed and a lot of the kind of early questions are because of a lack of business use case definition. Right? it's not clear where the proper application or where the ideal application is, or at least where the opportunity is. And then, we don't want to necessarily try and educate everyone about the deep technical understanding about blockchain unless there's interest, right, of course. But the primary step for one of the primary steps for the working group is to educate, and particularly around the business use cases. We can, at the same time, we'll share technical definitions, which are obviously been around for years, right? Around since the early stages of deployment of Bitcoin. So the other point that I'll address is that we, setting aside education for a second, I think that the use cases are something that we might have to have multiple people working on them in order to get the innovation to a point where we can really solve the problems, right? So, Tom was mentioning multiple chains. We see the same thing, right? We see that more because we've architected it with Nasdaq in a way where we can work with multiple chains, right? Nasdaq's a financial system. It has its chain connection, and media has a different potential use case around data transfer or supply chain challenges. We need to be able to technically interoperate between those two. So that's what we're doing. But there's also a component of this about the joint incentives for the whole of the advertising ecosystem, which is really complex. Back to Ken's point, it's about game theory, it's about the economics of the system. And if you really want to take a pure play approach to implementing blockchain in media and advertising, you really have to solve the underlying economics problem and make the incentives line up, and that's complex. That's a complex thing to do as a group, right? So innovation and, frankly, competition between companies here and companies that haven't yet been announced is going to be critical for us to make that happen, right? We need to, particularly in the working group, we need to enable that to happen. We need to support that happening, right? So we spent the last, I guess it's been 3 months now, just trying to get out and spending time with Manny, IBM, Microsoft, MetaX, everywhere, right? Just trying to understand whether there's any way we can collaborate to make this thing happen in an incentivized way for the whole of advertising.